I was a feminist when feminism was about equality, about levelling the playing field, giving women an opportunity to find their rightful place, particularly in the public world, which was tremendously important and exciting when we achieved that. But what feminism today, to me, is all about advantaging women at the expense of men. And it's become very much caught up in the demonisation of males, presenting them always at a disadvantage. And I don't want to have any part of that. I was writing recently about boys' education, which is something I've written about for many decades. And I came across an article I wrote 40 years ago, where we just started to notice how badly boys were doing vis-a-vis girls. I mean, we'd had 10 years of programs trying to help girls do better in the schools, which was fantastic. And a lot of girls who had been held back by traditional assumptions about, girls not speaking up and girls not doing well in maths were now beginning to shine, which was a fantastic thing. But what was becoming very obvious is there were also a lot of boys falling behind and not achieving their potential. We have really very much feminist ideology infiltrating all our education systems, systematic programs to continue to advantage girls, and no one taking any notice of the fact that boys are falling out in huge numbers.
Greetings and salutations, my brothers. Welcome to the ministry. On today's episode, we're taking a look at modern women who conveniently abandon feminism the second it no longer works for them. They don't understand that it's a toxic ideology that gives them the impression that they are better than men. It fills them with an overinflated sense of self-worth that allows them to celebrate every single small victory in life, while blaming forces beyond their control every time they stumble. Nothing is ever their fault. But after years of posturing and shouting slogans, they slowly start to realize that they are single and childless. Suddenly, they start to realize that it's feminism that's preventing them from getting what they want out of life. So, in a mad dash, they desperately try to dump their ideology in hopes of finding someone to take care of her. But it always comes too little too late. But before we begin, if you haven't already, we kindly invite you to join the Ministry of Masculinity. We are living in strange times, my brothers. Never before in human history have men been demonized to the point of being ignored by society. Men are called names, blamed for everyone's problems, and are told to sit down and shut up while society celebrates literally every other group. This has disillusioned men and has led many to just walk away. But this disillusion should not destroy men. On the contrary, this is a golden chance for men to build themselves up, embrace their masculinity, and go forward to forge a better future for themselves. So please support spaces like the Ministry of Masculinity so the word can continue to be spread to men all over the world. Now, on to today's video.
Do you guys ever wonder, do you ever think to yourself I messed up. I boss babe too hard. I went too hard. Now I've got all of these responsibilities. I used to be I could never be a stay-at-home mom. No, that's not for me. I was wrong. I could do it. I'd be so good. I'd be cleaning. I'd be on my hands and knees cleaning that floor right now. I'd be making a roast chicken dinner tonight right now. I would. Do you think it's too late for me to be a trophy wife? I mean, could I even pass for, no, shit. If my husband's watching, can I be a trophy wife?
It's awfully convenient how modern feminists will reap the benefits that feminism has provided them for the first part of their lives. Governments, social media companies, schools, and the private sector has offered jobs and preferential treatment to women in the name of equality. It fed off of the emotional impulses of a woman to give her permission to act out as much as she wants, to disrespect people, and to make herself as unappealing as possible. It fills her with such a rush that she refuses to see the consequences of her actions until it's too late. And once that happens, she turns around and tries to abandon everything she benefited from over the years. She no longer wants to be strong and independent. She now wants to quit her job, live at home, cook, clean, and have kids. But what she doesn't understand is how this feminism has stripped her of an identity and replaced it with a woman who's incapable of thinking for herself or having respect for other people.
Young women, hear me out. You want to do selective feminism. You want to be independent, but you still want to be a pick-me. Because the men have been more helpful to you than the women. Because the older women are always going after you, picking on you, asking you to be perfect. But then the men have been on your side. Let me give you the perspective of an older woman who once had all of those benefits, still didn't buy into it. When patriarchy is working in your favor, it's very easy to start pleasing it. You think you'll have found a life hack, or that you're different, or you're special, or you're so damn pretty, exceptionally different from all the other women. That's a pick-me attitude. The more you rely on this, the more miserable your later lives will be. Why? Because you're going to have good 10 years of getting patriarchy's approval, and after that, you're going to be used up rag. When you buy into patriarchy's approval, then you're also buying into the used up rag ideology. How does this work? You're going to have a much harder time seeing yourself beyond being a pretty face in a body. That means those later years are going to hit you hard when nobody starts to give a shit about you, and because you allowed yourself to be brainwashed by patriarchy and have sufficiently betrayed other women during your prime, you've already ruined your relationship with women.
Quitting feminism later on in life is one of the biggest insults a modern woman can give a man. She thinks that by saying she wants to cook and clean for a man, that will be enough for a man to let her into his life. The reason why this is insulting is because of the implication that this woman thinks that all a man wants. She thinks men are so dumb that all they want are live-in servants. But nothing could be further from the truth. Men want a feminine woman who will care for him, bring him peace, and add value onto his life. And these women can't do that. In the same sentence where they offer these services, they include that they want to quit their jobs and stay at home, which shows that they're incapable of caring for a man. They just want a man to put her in the position to quit the job she no longer wants, and in exchange, she will offer basic maid services. But men don't want maids. They want someone who cares for them and someone they can care about.
I feel like I'm going to piss a lot of people off by saying this, but I feel like I need to say it anyway. Saying it during Mercury retrograde is probably also a really bad idea, but I feel like some people might be feeling the same, and if not, maybe I'm crazy and maybe I'm the only one. But I still need to say it because I am a lot of things, but one thing I am not is a phony. Because I've made videos about this topic before, and I do not want to be somebody that anybody looks up to for this kind of information, because over the last 6 to 9 months, actually when I started my Saturn return, I started to realize I don't think I'm actually a feminist. And before you get mad, please just listen to what I have to say. I know that by definition, if you look up what a feminist is, it says that there's a range of beliefs. But I feel like just like with anything else in today's era, everything is so extreme. And I just started to realize that I'm not a feminist. I just want to be in my feminine. There's a difference. Wanting men to have basic respect for you is not feminism, babe. That's literally common sense. But I am so over being in my masculine energy. I feel good in my feminine, and in order for you to be in your feminine, the masculine has to provide a safe space for you to do so.
Modern women have made it obvious. Feminism isn't about equality. In most Western countries, women have the same rights as men. They like to think that they have fewer rights and will point out to vague concepts, myths, and points taken out of context. And they will viciously argue with anybody who says anything otherwise. And when that is the reaction to any form of disagreement, then how do these women expect to be able to be in a marriage with a man? If a man tries to put his foot down in regards to the household, she will be incapable of submitting to his leadership. She will get angry, insist that she's right, and refuse to listen to reason. And what kind of man would want to deal with that kind of disrespect? Feminism is an ideology of hate, judgment, and ignorance. And when she brings that into a man's home, all it does is poison that man's peace and will make his life harder. And no man wants that. And that's going to do it for today's video, my brothers. If you found yourself enjoying this content, then we hope we have earned your subscription to the Ministry of Masculinity. Be sure to like this video and share with as many of our fellow brothers as you can as well. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next episode of the Ministry of Masculinity.